Hello, this is Jacob Bolton, Associate Pastor here at Westminster Presbyterian Church in Alexandria, Virginia. And I'm here to talk with you, like I have been every single Monday of the season of Lent, about spiritual practices. We've talked about a handful already that have been fun this season: getting outdoors, writing letters. We've even talked about mindful eating. Now, some of these might be right up your spirituality. They might be really fulfilling that need. They might be quenching your spiritual thirst this particular season. They also may not be right up your alley. And I want you to know that that's okay. In fact, I want to share with all of you today that sometimes when we try something spiritual, when we try a new practice or a new discipline, and it's not working for us, we have the permission to stop doing it. In fact, it's probably a good idea that once we realize that a certain avenue is not nourishing our souls, that we revert to what was, or we continue to search for what can. John Chapman says that we should pray as we can, not as we can't. And for those of you who, for instance, maybe mindful eating didn't do it for you, now that we've been trying that for a week or two, it's not doing it for you, that's A-okay. Brian Taylor says that we should engage in the practices that enliven us, not in the ones that we just think we should be doing. How many of us have been on a retreat or at a church gathering of some sort where we almost feel like we're a square peg trying to be jammed into a round hole because something that we're being asked to do, whether it's a prayer style or a worship style or something of the like, just is not really speaking to us? Unfortunately, I've been at many of those. There's a phenomenon that many people find deeply moving, incredibly engaging, in fact, quite spiritually profound. And it is called praying in color. And I'm pretty sure Sybil Macbeth, I think Sybil Macbeth is who came up with this concept. And it's basically adult coloring sheets, right? Not like coloring sheets like My Little Pony or something, but they're coloring sheets that are a bit more, they're images of nature, or they're, Mary Cassatt or Manet paintings or something like that. They're famous European cathedrals. And one would sit there and one would color in these incredible images while praying. It becomes a very tactile experience. It reminds me of how, people use prayer beads. Dare I say, it reminds me of how many people actually find the process of knitting to be a spiritual experience. The repetition, the tactile component can be very meditative. And while I like prayer beads, praying in color has never done it for me for a handful of reasons. And so I have learned that is one style of prayer that is an opportunity for me to pray as I can't, not as I can. And so I often don't participate. Trust me, for some of us, it's the best thing going. And I only want to affirm that and say, for those of you that have found that as meaningful, run with it. But for those of you that have found some of the things that I've perhaps brought up, or that other people have brought up, that are not doing it for you, I want you to know that I give you permission, that you should give yourself the permission to chart a new course, to find not only what maybe was feeding you before, but what is something new that can feed you in the future. John Calvin writes that prayer itself is properly an effusion and a manifestation of internal feelings before God, the God who is the searcher of all our hearts. And I think that John Calvin, is 99% of the way there. John Calvin says that prayer is internal feelings before God. But I think that prayer is internal feelings also with God. And so my prayer and my hope for the rest of this Lenten season is that however we engage ourselves and one another spiritually, moving forward, is that we are able to do that both before and with God. Much love. Hold fast.